Imagine discovering that a man you've long admired and sought to emulate lives on a scale so vast, so untouchable, that even you are left stunned. That's exactly what happened to Donald Trump. He thought he understood power. He thought he knew wealth. But then he came face to face, directly or indirectly, with Vladimir Putin's trillion-dollar empire, and it shattered everything he believed. Today on Passive Income Pro, we're diving into that breathtaking moment, a moment when Trump realized that his benchmark for success was being outpaced not by a business rival, but by a geopolitical titan whose assets, secrets, and reach extend beyond what most of us can grasp. And what that means for you, if you're serious about building real wealth with real insight. Before we dive in, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss the next big shift in global power, finance, and opportunity. Trump's origin story, ambition, spectacle. Real estate. Donald Trump built his name on gold-plated towers, celebrity feuds, luxury lifestyle, and the idea that, if you're going to do it big. He made deals, signed his name across skylines, turned buildings into brands and brands into media events. He understood one core truth: visibility sells. He knew the language of luxury, of high stakes, of, look what I've done. His mindset: turn assets into spectacle, turn spectacle into value, turn value into legacy. He saw himself not just as a businessman, but as a force of nature, someone who could cross borders, rewrite rules, disrupt the status quo. But across the Atlantic, in Moscow and beyond, someone else was quietly playing a far larger game, with far deeper roots. Someone for whom spectacle was often hidden, and power was measured not in tower heights, but in influence, secrets, wealth that never needed mass media to shout its worth. Enter Vladimir Putin. The Tsar of quiet empire, Vladimir Putin emerged from the shadows of Soviet structures and KGB corridors to become the ruler of a vast geopolitical realm. He built his power not just through politics, but through assets, alliances, oligarchs, offshore flows, real estate, and control. While many sought to measure his wealth publicly, the true numbers were always hidden behind shell companies, trusts, mining deals, state-owned enterprises, frozen assets, and a web of influence that defied transparency. Trump knew of this. He had glimpsed it. He even admired aspects of it, but nothing prepared him for the scale and the subtlety. While Trump's plays were global, loud, visible, Putin's were deeper, older, integrated into state structure and global flows that ordinary investors rarely see. To Trump, Putin's system looked like the ultimate fusion of politics and money, a legacy machine, not just a deal machine. And when you start seeing someone else's wealth game beating yours at your own rules, you pay attention. The shock moment, realizing the scale. There came a moment when the realization hit, whether in a conversation, in a briefing, or in a private thought. This guy is worth more than I thought. Much more. Trump, accustomed to evaluating large deals, multi-$100 million properties, billion-dollar brands, suddenly had to reconcile that here was a peer operating on trillion-dollar, or near trillion-dollar, scales. Not in public market valuation alone, but in control of resources, territory, energy, minerals, strategic leverage. He recognized that his benchmark, the biggest towers, the biggest brand deals, the biggest headlines, was now being eclipsed, and not just by one business rival, but by a sovereign actor whose wealth was tied to states, pipelines, minerals, submarines, state output, oligarch networks. That shock wounded ego, altered perception, forced a shift. Because in one instant realization, maybe I'm not the apex anymore. For an investor, for someone studying wealth, this moment is critical when you understand that real wealth sometimes hides in power systems, state systems, infrastructure, not just branding and media. And you ask, what lessons apply to me? What makes the trillionaire lifestyle different? Let's unpack what trillionaire lifestyle really means and why it's not just about numbers. Because if you only think of it as billions in a bank, you'll miss the real factors. Integration with state assets. The wealth flows through state-linked enterprises, energy, defense, minerals, infrastructure. It's not discrete deals, it's systems. Control over resources, ownership of pipelines, mines, land, territory, networks. Money not just invested but embedded in geography and geopolitics. Hidden structures not always visible publicly, layered through offshore trusts, oligarch proxies, state-owned shell companies. It's wealth that you can't easily track. Influence and leverage. Wealth here buys not just property, but policy, alliances, silence, advantage. That's power beyond just bank balances. Legacy architecture, generations, institutions, global reach. The assets are not just for now. They're built for decades, centuries, embedded. For Trump, used to deal, making and brand, capital, this kind of system was both fascinating and threatening. Because if you know how to use leverage, branding, the deals, but someone else is using state leverage, infrastructure, and hidden flows, you need to rethink your playbook. What Trump learned, and what you should learn here, are the key takeaways from Trump's shock moment that you as an investor, wealth builder, or strategist can apply. 1. The bigger isn't just visibility, it's structure. It's not just buying the biggest property, it's embedding your investment into systems that persist, infrastructure, state assets, recurring flows. 2. Hidden value beats visible hype. Trump's deal world thrives on brand, on headlines. But Putin's world thrives on what's unseen, what's controlled, what's passed down, what's silent. For you, dig for value that others don't see. 3. Leverage isn't just debt, it's control. Most invest with borrowed money or personal effort. But true leverage is when you control resources, networks, flows, not just loan to value. 4. Diversify beyond the obvious. If you only invest in public stocks or visible real estate, you miss hidden assets. Think rights, recurring royalties, infrastructure, global flows. 5. Legacy mindset beats short-term game. Trump often plays big but in cycles of deals. The Trillionaire systems are built for generations. For you, invest so that your money works even when you don't. When Trump realized the gap between his model and the deeper model, he adjusted. His tone changed with Putin. His threats changed, his strategy shifted. For you, it means once you see a higher game, you can step up. How the shock manifested in Trump's behavior, we've seen it. Trump's public remarks over recent months shifted, from being admiring, to contemplative, to critical. He said of Putin, "He fooled a lot of people." He admitted he was disappointed. He acknowledged that the war in Ukraine and the escalation had exposed a side he didn't fully anticipate. He admitted that his idea of getting Russia to the negotiating table might have been undershooting the reality of Putin's leverage. It's not just rhetoric, it's recognition of a systemic imbalance. That realization is powerful because it's rare in public figures to admit someone else has the upper hand in wealth, power, structure. For you, watching this means that the moment you realize your model is too limited is the moment your growth speeds up. Don't ignore the shock, use it. The wealth lessons hidden in geopolitics. What does all this mean for your portfolio, your strategy, your mindset? Invest in infrastructure and systems, not just hype. If you can own a piece of a recurring cash flow machines, toll, pipeline, right, data center, you're playing the deeper game. Seek assets with embedded advantage or regulatory moats. Resource control, scarcity, network effect. These mimic the state-level leverage Putin uses. Build hidden diversification across geographies, asset classes, rights, royalties. Don't let style point investors dominate your mirror. Monitor power shifts. When world leaders change tone, trade alliances shift, assets get revalued. Your investments need agility. Adopt a legacy lens, think in decades. Are you buying what others can rip away tomorrow? Or building something lasting? Trump's shock serves as a warning. The big wealth doesn't always advertise itself loudly. It often hides in systems where most people aren't looking. The risk of seeing but not acting. Here's what happens when you see a higher model, as Trump did, but don't adjust. You continue playing deal by deal while the bigger game passes you by. You get blindsided by competitors who built structural advantage. You miss value risk. When someone controls more than you think, they can shake your assumptions. Trump's hesitation with Putin's attack escalation, his abrupt shift in tone, show that even powerful actors can be caught off guard when they underestimate structural advantage. Your job when you recognize a model far above yours. Don't just observe it. Scale your learning, adjust your investments, upgrade your strategy. So there you have it. Donald Trump's moment of realization when he saw Vladimir Putin's $1 trillion league, and what it should teach every investor reading this. It's not about trying to chase someone else's scale. It's about understanding how they built it and adapting those lessons into your own game. Wealth is not just how much you make. It's how you structure it, guard it, grow it, and pass it on. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, hit like, comment, level up my wealth, and don't forget to subscribe to Passive Income Pro for more real insights into how the powerful really build and preserve wealth. Remember, seeing the higher ladder is just step one. Now climb it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.